Welcome to Your Story Matters, where you can leave the bullshit at the door and be you. I'm your host, Sean Nishis. Today, I'm here with Kris Cullen from Gabi's Wings. How you feeling today, Kris?
Good.
The weather is just it's not too bad. From like the week before, oh my gosh, it was like cold. So, but this following week and stuff like that, it's been warm. But today has been it's been kind of off. So.
I can do without the below zero.
We definitely need the motorcycle weather. We're waiting for that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So tell me a little bit about Gabi's Wings. I want to hear about that.
I think we started it in 2022, September, which is National Suicide Month. And we, the first year was rough because we had to move it in May, find a new home for it, because we wanted to have music, and Whiskey Ranch couldn't have music because of their township. So
I heard about that.
Yeah, it was a big mix-up. So we decided to start our ride at Whiskey Ranch, but Hog Cabin took us in, and we put it together, and we were out there early in the morning setting up, and then we rushed out to Whiskey Ranch I had people set up for registration, and we came over the hill, and the whole parking lot was full of bikes. And my husband and I, we were both in tears. It was just amazing. And we had worked with another couple for the ride, and they got COVID.
Oh gosh.
Yes. And so we had the ride, and what was it, the 3 weeks before, we would do every weekend. And we would go out and, practice. We rode it, we drove it, and we set it up with South Beloit Police and Rock County, and we actually ran into another ride, and that's when we met you guys.
That's like you ran in like two rides in one day?
Yes.
Or, oh my gosh.
Because another ride was coming, Rock County told us there's another ride coming in around the corner from Hog Cabin, and they're doing it for suicide awareness also for veterans.
Oh, wow.
So they were more than willing to block for us. So they just asked us, we were going to Beckman Mill, to hold up for 15 minutes out there so they could let them through and then us. So it worked out for blocking really well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The only problem we thought we would have was South Beloit Police, because they only had 2 policemen. so
South Beloit's a little hard. Did you have to cross borders and stuff like that, or from Illinois to Wisconsin, or?
Well, South Beloit was awesome. My husband and I, with the couple, they were done with COVID. We were leading, and I was messaging with them, the policemen. And they were supposed to meet us on 251, and they met us before the freeway. And I was the only one. I was on the back of the bike, and I was the only one that knew that. And here we have, I think we had like 180 people.
Oh, wow.
And I'm looking around.
Those are always...
And I'm thinking, I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm just going to go live, and this is awesome, And
were you on the back of the motorcycle live?
Yeah.
Just on Facebook?
And so I'm going, this is so cool, because he had texted me, the police officer, and he said, we're waiting for you. We're right above the freeway. the interstate. And I'm going, oh my God, this is so cool. And we don't have to use our blockers, nothing. And so we got up there and they took us, they would go back and forth. They're two policemen, the South Beloit Police.
They're awesome.
They were, and they took
don't
us
play
all
around.
the way to Bluff, and that was the dangerous point. And it was just amazing. And then we caught up with, it was Township and Rock County, and after the other ride went through. And then after we were almost finished, and that's when I met you. The first time, I'm like, who is this guy,
Yeah, I was just came in with my I Ride Suicide Awareness jacket on, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, what is that? It looks so awesome.
But it worked out so well because they were already set up to block for you guys to go around the corner to the VFW.
Yeah, I think
And-
that was the Ease the Mind
yeah.
ride, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
They work a lot with our veterans and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's an amazing ride as well.
Yeah. And that was so, that worked out so well. And it was amazing. But unfortunately, we outgrew the hog cabin. The first year we had it, we had such an amazing turnout because, the ride is for our granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
And the first year was the most challenging because she had just passed away December, and we had this ride in September. But she always did volunteer work with us in the motorcycle group that we ride with, and she loved it. And that's what we did together. That's why my husband and I felt we had to do this, something in her memory, because she was so amazing.
You gotta talk to me when you very, very first started just thinking about the ride. Tell me a little bit about that.
We were not going to do a ride, a benefit, and we actually went out to Whiskey Ranch one night, and Stacy, she does rides and benefits. She puts them on, and we've done some out there, a lot of them, with our 72 shifters. And we had seen her the first time we saw her since Gabi had passed away. And we hugged and, talked, and we went in to sit down, and she said, well, Benny is here. He is the owner of Whiskey Ranch. And she said, he's been asking, about you guys. And Betty came over, and we talked with him, and he actually bought us dinner that night.
That's always awesome.
And yeah, so nice. And they both said, if you guys want to do a ride, or something, we're here for you, we'll help you guys. And and we're like, no, we don't want to, and they said, well, because Gabi had also taken her friends out there and did volunteer work for Whiskey Ranch and helped with stuff, and they knew she always helped me with computer work because I would yell, Grandma needs help, and yeah. So, and she was always helping. And then once we left, we got to thinking, maybe we should, because she was so amazing. And I had her laptop, and I had found that she wrote she wanted to do social work and to make a difference in the world. And I said, she didn't live to make her dream come true. Maybe we can do something to make her dream come true. And that's why we do our ride. We have our team, Gabi's Wings, that walks 2 weeks after our fundraiser that we donate to our team for the AFSP that does amazing work, advocating, training, and we donate into that, and then we do scholarships. And we don't look at their GPA because we realize the kids have problems, you know. We want to help them get to college. Because Gabi, she paid for her own college.
That's hefty and its own cost, that's for sure.
Yeah. And she, you know, I mean, took all the AP classes. She started with 9 credits.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I toured college with her, and I told her, you know, let's look at private ones because you don't want to waste your money going to, you know, the UW system. You're going to end up repeating your core classes, and that's just a waste of money.
Yeah, that definitely is.
If you go to a private one, and she had chosen George Williams in Williams Bay, which unfortunately they're closed now, but it was the best place for her. And I mean, she did like it there. She was really doing good. They might have spoiled her a little there because she was a fussy eater. And the kitchen ladies offered to make her special food. And, you know, I don't know.
Definitely, like one of the great things is about like going back, like getting through these types of things. It's always thinking about the memories and thinking about the certain things that just in life, like you gotta just understand, you know, and life is just so short, and we have so many things in our life that just like challenges us and tries to get us through life, you know, and.
Yeah.
Whew, it's
No, that's what I'm not on the scholarship committee. I actually have a cousin. He's the superintendent of Wisconsin schools. He helped me with examples to write the scholarship. So I wrote the scholarship, and that's why I said, okay, I wrote it. I'm not going to be on the committee. So we have a full committee that chooses. And they're really good. And they have a graph system, so no one knows how they vote, you know, for each other. And there's the only requirement we have is that they're going to attend a college, like Gabi. And we have preferences, you know, but they're not requirements. And it's if they're going to go into a mental health class, which can be a wide range. And if they did volunteer work in their community and school, which she did a lot, because she ventured off later in life. She would sign up, you know, out of the blue. She'd say, Grandma, can you give me a ride to the Humane Society? And I'm like, what? Well, I volunteered. Okay, you know, on her own. So
this big emotion happened, and that happened back in December, I think 2021. Tell me about, like, so when you started networking the ride and networking all this stuff, like, talk to me about that emotion and what it just meant to you just to do this, and tell me about that.
I was pretty used to it because I'm kind of their go-to person if they want to know how to do it, because we had always did the Alzheimer's walk in Beloit, but we would do a fundraiser for it. We did a car and bike show, we would do a ride, and then a fundraiser. So I luckily had learned from some old timers I've just, and I study this stuff. We've just kind of shifted.
Yeah, you had to take a big shift.
Utilize that into, doing Gabi's Wings. I couldn't have done, though, Gabi's Wings without the help of the other grandma and her friends, because we had we do every year have over 100 raffle baskets.
Wow,
I know.
That's a lot. And you know what I did with my ride. I took out raffles. Yeah. Well, I had a couple raffles, but I was planning on doing it, but yeah. I don't know.
But she, she'll bring in. They will bring in over half, and I'll bring in over half with, friends, and it's just awesome, And we get together, and we've got probably 20 people we set up the night before, and it's a big undertaking.
It really is, because you're not only facing your pain when talking about it so much. It has that example of where it just engulfs you afterwards, and you're just
it does.
You got to take a huge breather, and after and I've told him multiple of these podcasts, I have to take a breather after all these, because I get into telling my story and bringing up the images and just the mindset I was in. It helps out so much, because but then again, it's on me. It's I'm reminding myself of what I did, but it's something that really, it has to be talked about, no matter what. And my story, you know my story. I came close to losing my silent battle back in November of 2019. During that time of the second ride, the Never Forget the Fallen, all that, I was taking my pain out on getting sponsors and getting a month and a half of networking and just showing what this ride was for. And it had an adverse reaction, which I say it had an adverse reaction. I was talking about it so much because my friend lost his silent battle.
Yeah.
It came back on me. And that's when I came out 5 days later about me doing that back in 2019. Aborted suicide is hard. And if I could talk to you about the emotions that go into it, and it's a struggle. It's a real struggle. It's a you versus you battle. It's a something that it's either your numbness is going to win or you are going to win. And it's so hard. It's always it's so hard to talk about it.
That's what I haven't really suffered depression, anxiety. I have friends that have, and I could never quite understand it. And Gabi never talked about it.
Yeah.
And I've come to realize it's not, when a person dies by suicide, they don't think about who they're leaving.
Yeah.
All they want is their pain to end. And that's so hard.
So hard to talk about, because you feel so alone, so battered inside. You just don't know what to do. You don't know how to talk about it, how to understand it, and feel your way through the darkness. It's just what's going to be that purpose? What's going to be that light that's going to actually give me just a glimpse? It's always a glimpse. It's always a glimpse, because that one glimpse of light, whatever's happened in their life, that's the way it happens. And
I feel that our youth today, since COVID, it's harder.
Oh yeah.
Because school was so important. And once COVID hit and they were allowed back in school, that was her senior year. She had no interest. Then she was a workaholic.
Yeah, it's kind of like that trigger. Like I'm about to start school and stuff like that. I know
Yeah.
how that feels.
And that was her senior year, and she, you know, didn't have as much interest in school. And I mean, I can't even imagine, the kids, the isolation they would have felt. One day they were in school, the next day they're all in front
Staying
of
at
the
home.
computer.
But you think I get to stay home now.
Yeah.
I think they were more happy about that than going to school. but no.
It was horrible. I had to do it with the younger ones. Oh my gosh, with the younger grandkids. But it was hard. I would have to message Gabi, and I lost logins, and it was so hard. But yeah, it was so bad. And I don't know. I mean, I've gotten more into the advocating with our legislators, because at first they did not want mental health brought into our schools. They thought if we talk about it, then the kids will do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like
You know.
it's kind of like saying suicide.
Right.
It's kind of like
that's what they.
it's a trigger, but it's not a trigger.
Yep.
And it's not a trigger because it's not that triggers them. It's the things that lead up to that moment and what happens. It's like if someone's calling in, like I talked about with the Dane County Sheriff's Department. Like if they call in, I told them, look, like if a good procedure would be is talk to them about their positive memories in life. Try to get them to talk about that. Start getting talk about that. That's going to change their mind. That's going to adjust their mind to think, maybe I have a purpose. Maybe I have a reason to stay here and not give up.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. And as you were saying,
No, that I agree. They need more training, to look for the signs, although she didn't show any signs.
I didn't either. Well, I mean, I did like I think like a month before I came out to the military, I was like having suicidal thoughts, and I was dealing with some type of mental health because relationship trauma is like it's brutal. It really is. And leading up to that moment, I think it was, like I said, a month before that I was giving signs, but like I looked like I was improving, but I wasn't really. And it just led up to that. And so I got close to doing it, but then yeah, it did happen. And if I could tell you, like, you don't have any control. You don't have any control. When you're in those moments, you don't have no type of control. And just thinking about it, it's just like, if I did do it, I wouldn't have been here today. I wouldn't have been here doing this stuff and trying to help out and try to be a voice of action and voice of reasoning. And it just takes a lot. And getting into that moment where I'm just trying to like transfer my energy from it, but
That's what I mean, they have sex education classes.
Yeah, I know, right?
So why not have mental health classes?
Yeah, that's
and
such a good
talk
class.
about suicide, bring it out.
Yeah.
And that's what they need in the schools.
That would be literally amazing. Like,
I had posted on my Facebook, and I was kind of glad WIFR had picked it up. There was an 11-year-old.
Yeah, I heard
She
about
was
that.
being bullied.
Gosh.
Yeah. And, and I know in Janesville, there was two, probably more 12-year-olds that died by suicide. What? Oh my gosh. It's just...
And these kids at these ages, at 10, 11, 12 years old, they don't know how to look for those signs. How do they understand those signs? Because you're expected to be a kid, know? And how are you supposed to think about, he's gonna go do something that he's not supposed to, or that's
Right.
gonna hurt a lot of people, or and it's so hard. Like, how do you teach that? And that's going to be a good question. Like, if this does get into it, like, how are school districts going to adjust to that for having someone properly talk about it? And I could tell you, like talking about it and doing it is two different things. Talking about it, it helps out extremely, but doing
Yes.
it and being an example of that, it's so difficult. And finding those people that do that, because I feel like the people that have came out, talked about these things and have went through those certain circumstances, I feel like are a good like candidate for that type of talking, because like it's relatable. Every suicidal ideation or anything like that is always relatable.
Yeah. They have they did come out with the 988 number.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And
back in what, I think 2022, 23?
Yeah, I was going to say it's been out at least 2 years, and that has helped.
Yeah, that's
They've
amazing.
got it. You could push a button for veterans, and that is amazing. It's helped.
It's a big undertaking, and especially anybody's going to take this on, like to start doing this, it's going to be a big undertaking, because especially talking to these students and stuff like that, that's...
Yes.
I didn't know that they should make a class. I feel like that would be amazing.
Yeah, I really do. I've asked my grandkids, do you guys have, and they said they do have some people that come in and talk.
Yeah.
And, I just don't know if it's enough,
It's never enough. It's like, it's a constant day battle. It's a constant day battle. Like, once you have a suicidal attempt, that sticks in you for a long time. It's stuck in my brain I'm still semi dealing with it.
Yes.
And it's a daily thing. It's never just one day, or just one day you'll be fine. No, it's constant of feeling down and alone that you're not.
Yeah. And plus dealing with the other kids, because I know that her siblings have dealt with stuff. That's their story, but they've dealt with stuff since Gabi passed.
It's hard. It's
Yeah.
difficult. Like,
From other
like
kids.
especially like my experience is when that happened to one of my friends, it kind of pushed me forward, and like I'm like, like, what can I do to change? What can I do to make a positive impact? And I've looked at this constantly. I'm like, it's a positivity behind what it means to what you're talking about. And I talk about in my second episode of Your Story Matters with Nick Wiesman, is like, how do you turn suicide into a positive term?
That's just it. And
That's a really good analogy if we could start thinking about it like, okay, yeah, it's there, but why don't we put suicide awareness after? That's how you start making a positive term. I've thought about this a lot, and
I have. Because
it's a difficult term, because people are
suicide death is. Both of my parents have passed cancer.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that.
We've had a lot of death, and suicide death is such a different kind of death, because you don't have the answers.
It's unexpected.
And you want the answers. You have to come to terms. You'll never get the answers.
You'll never get the answers, but I think the biggest way is the reaction. How do you make it into a positive reaction to help out others? And that's like, when I was going through this, like doing the rides and stuff like that, like that's what I was constantly thinking about. Like, how can you positively have an affection after that happens? Because like, mostly people go to emotion and go to the grief process and depression. How do you get to acceptance? The biggest part is, how do you get to acceptance and understand that it's not them being selfish, It was their numbness.
Yeah.
The numbness was what took them. Yeah. It wasn't them. It was their numbness. Mm-hmm. But that can be an impact if you let it radiate through history. You know, if you let it radiate into the future.
Oh, yes.
I think that is the biggest like way of understanding how to deal with these different types of circumstances and stuff like that is like it's hard to deal with, yes. It's life though. And you know, like, and you decided, you know, you're like, yeah. And
we decided if we could help someone.
Exactly.
And try to get people to talk about suicide because they don't want to talk about it. And, you know, my husband and I are older.
Yeah.
Obviously older than you.
How old do you think I am?
No, I know how old because I listened to your podcast.
Oh, you have?
Yes, I am. And, you know, and we know, you know, our generation, we were, you know, you don't talk about it.
Yeah, you try to just engulf it, yes. Move forward, and be okay with it, you know? And but there's a point where it just gets to be way too much. Like, it's like, and going up, so the trauma basis, you know, like me going up to the point, and like last Friday, I think it was, I reread my whole book. Not this Friday, the last Friday before that. I reread my whole book, and I'm just sitting there looking at all the things that this happened. This woman did this to me. And I'm like, I was so emotional, and it just happened back to back to back to back to back. And it's kind of like that's how life feels right now. It's back to back to back to back. It's not that I feel those certain circumstances in the past happening sometimes. Like I know in 2021, 2022, I was feeling those certain circumstances. Like I was going through the pain, and no one understands how to go through pain. Like you gotta sit, like the hardest thing is sitting in it, engulfing in it, and understanding and moving forward with that pain. It's hard. It's like you're just thinking like, what's going on? Like, why am I so down today? I could tell you what it is. It's connected to history. It's connected to what's, like, you think about one day. Like, for example, like, one day. It was crazy. I was so vivid throughout that book when I was talking. I was so vivid on the dates. It's crazy. It's like, you know when you're going to be down. You know when you're going to be upset. You know when you're going to feel like that. You know, like I talked about the positives. The way I go about it is I would go to these certain places in the book and stuff like that. I would ride off with my motorcycle, and that would be my coping mechanism to cope with the pain. Yeah. It's one of the big. Yeah. I could talk all day about that, but it's crazy because like finding yourself in the darkness, finding your passion within the darkness, it just moves you forward through life. And I don't know why, like when you see when I talk about this stuff, like I get so happy about it because like it gives me a certain level of accomplishment, and it's just like so happy, like seeing this radiate through people and telling people about it. It just helped me out to understand that trauma. Trying to understand all that trauma, it's like, I want to stay away from it. I don't want to, but it's there. It's gonna be there.
Right.
It's gonna be a missing piece in your puzzle. It's gonna be that shattered armor on yourself. It just depends on how you react and how you understand how to push forward and grow through the pain. Go through the pain.
Do you ever find people turning away from you when you talk about it?
Of course.
Yeah.
There's gonna be people that are gonna be like, "You're crazy."
I found that. Yeah.
You're crazy. You're talking about mental health. You're coming out about, oh, you almost lost your silent battle. You almost gave up and boarded in 2019. Why are you talking about that? No, that is me talking about it is me helping myself out to help other people understand that it's okay to come out and talk about it.
Right. And that's what I'll say, my granddaughter died by suicide, and they'll just
They'll lock up. They'll be like, yeah.
They don't know how to respond.
It's because it and I could put it to the simple fact is it triggers them. Because they deal with that stuff too. Everybody deals with it.
Yes.
A lot of people deal with it.
When I'm out passing posters for Gabi's Wings, I will actually, and it's okay. I will have people follow me, bartenders follow me and say, "Oh, are you guys doing this for suicide awareness?" And I explain, or I'll tell her, yes, and we support, these causes, and we do this. And they'll tell me their story. And I feel privileged. I love that.
It's so amazing. Like, it literally...
Sadly, we all know somebody.
Exactly.
We all have that bond. And I think that's why we, Gabi was loved, and we have an amazing turnout just for that, but we also have an amazing turnout because people want to support suicide awareness.
It makes a positive impact. It, like, the biggest question about these rides, and it's probably me and you the same, how can we be that one positive factor in their mind to say, I'm not gonna commit suicide today.
Yeah, that's what
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it because there's people out there that support and love what and understand me, because I'm not alone in this fight. There's a lot more people that are in this fight than you know of.
That's why.
Sorry, Abby.
No, but that's, we do it, so we can make her dream come true through other people. And so no other family has to lose another loved one, or a person has to lose another loved one and live through this hell, basically.
Yeah.
Because it is hell to lose a loved one.
Chaos. It's chaos. Suicide. It's like you gotta plan, like,
get over.
You gotta plan the funeral. You do all the other type of stuff, and you gotta, while you're going through those emotions, you gotta understand, like, you gotta keep your own up as well, because it just destroys you inside.
It does. I suffered PTSD 3 years. It just probably 4 months ago.
It's that traumatic experience.
Because I'm driving along, and the fire trucks passed me, and I had to pull to the side, and you got to take a breather.
Yeah,
I couldn't breathe.
Yeah, I remember that brings up a point of me with me too, is like, I was coming back from drill, and like, I just completely was breaking down, like, randomly, and I was like, what the hell is going on? And this is before the ride.
I didn't know what
and I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, I'm calling to need help. I'm calling, and I think this is after I broke, but when you break down your armor, you are so weak. Like, you are so weak to everything of your past and what has engulfed you in your past, and you don't understand how to move forward because you never dealt with it before. And I just sat there, like, I was going down up 39 because I was coming back from Marseilles, and I was crying, I was hurt, I was not in the right place, and I pushed over to the side of the road, and I was not having thoughts about anything, but I was falling into a depression. I was like, what the hell is going on? It happens, it's triggering. It's like,
I had no idea what was going on. It was like I couldn't breathe, and it kept happening. I'm on a group that is very supportive, and I brought it up, and they said, well, you've got PTSD. And I was and then it's gotten better. But I was actually scared to drive my grandkids. I drive my grandkids all over,
Yeah.
What, and I'm going, what if that happens then? Luckily it didn't, but.
Did you ever experience any time, like, you would wake up, like, screaming out of the night and be like...
No, but I don't.
You didn't get to that point?
I still don't sleep worth
You just don't?
Crap.
Mm. Yeah,
we still live in the same house, which is hard. It was really hard before, but it's not anymore, really.
It's sometimes, living in it, you know, it's always going to bring it, and I would say like the ways I've done it, like to get away from that type of stuff is just like move away from it or push away from it and stuff like that. Even though it's hard to let go, but it gets you into a stronger healing process, and that's what I've seen. Like some of the things I've done, it gets you into a stronger healing process, and I found like, because post-traumatic stress, it's crazy. It's like, like from that relationship I went through, I like after like 3 years later, I was waking up out of my freaking sleep, just yelling and screaming, feeling like I was falling down a dark hole.
Yeah.
What is going on? Like, and I'd never thought I would have PTS, and I've healed over time because of doing this and doing what I love to do. It's really helped me out to understand, like, people are there, people understand, people know this trauma, people know this, how this works and stuff like that. And it's a hard diagnosis, and I got put on the bad scale of that, but that's okay,
I thought it was just veterans.
No, it's complex.
I had helped a veteran through the 4th of July. But I did. Yeah, I realized it's not.
There's 5 different. If you ever done any study, there's 5 different types of PTSD.
Right.
Our military members, they suffer from comorbid PTSD. Like it's kind of like our trauma. It's complex PTSD because it has a complexity that you can't understand, and like I don't know what the other 3 are. It's been so long since but I know those 2 terms, but it's life, and it's okay to say about this stuff, and people feel so, like you felt like, oh yeah, it's only military,
I did.
It's pressuring you. It's like,
unfortunately, I had to learn so much.
You learn so much in life,
we never even thought about.
Yeah,
and it's just unreal.
Yeah. So I wanna know what your feeling was that week before the first ride, that week going up into the ride. Tell me about how you felt and what it felt like to be almost there. Because that feeling, it gets crazy.
It was probably panic. Because we were, as a family unit, we were pretty divided. Not our family, but Gabi's family. Mm-hmm. Her dad was in a bad place, grieving as a father. And we didn't know what his reaction would be. And so we didn't know how the ride would turn out, And I just...
So nervous. You're like, what's going to happen?
I was nervous. Which it turned out beautifully. And, the next 2 ones, he led the last ride. We're all friends and we're getting along. I'm hoping he's not struggling too much anymore. As a father...
It's hard.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
And I know, like in my life, like I've had 3 miscarriages in my life, so
yeah,
I know how that feels. And it's.
I know my daughter.
And you could consider one other one like a stillborn, if I'm not mistaken. Another one was a stillborn, I think. So those ones are not.
but it's just. It was so hard, and she had, the first year passed that year. So it was really emotional. But my sister came back from Florida, and my other sister's in Edgerton, and they stayed back and actually ran the show,
at the Hog Cabin?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And neither one ride. But it was amazing because both of them, they saw what bikers do, you know,
yeah.
and the generosity. And I mean, they could not say enough good after coming to Gabby's Wings, which she came the next year back and brought her son from Florida, you know, and loved it. She couldn't make it last year. But, yeah, and my other sister, they come every year, her whole family, and help out. So
So awesome.
if I could say that they would come to a place full of bikers, you know. Now,
Wouldn't be in their sight before,
No,
but
it
now
would
it's
not.
like, wow, okay, this is fun. Because we that's how we like, you know, bikers and stuff like that. We get rid of like our pain from our past. We go on a ride and
Yeah.
stuff like that. That's why we're so always depressed in the winter.
You know, and really, I mean, yeah, we might, like the 72 shifters, a lot of them wear the vest, you know, well, okay, like our president, he's, you know, got 6 businesses, or, you know, I mean, he's a businessman, and, you know, we have other jobs, okay.
So talk to me about the emotion of it's the day of the ride. Talk to me about the emotion of getting up, starting everything. It probably didn't get enough sleep the night before because your nerves are just going
No,
and
we
flowing.
did not, because I had all the raffle stuff, and my daughter came over. We filled her car, and we filled mine, and we filled my husband's, and then we all met because we couldn't set up the night before there, and my daughter was late. But
You only
Yeah.
can adjust. Like when you're the organizer, you only can adjust.
oh, I know.
You have no choice.
You know, but we all showed up. Yeah, it was like, I think 7 o'clock in the morning out at Hog Cabin. And I had forgotten a raffle basket at the house.
Sometimes you're just like, leave them
I
at
know.
home. Why we can put it in the next year's ride.
I know this was an important one too.
Oh, it was important. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
those
my
ones you
God.
got to make sure you have.
Yep. But yeah, so we were all setting up. And, I mean, it was crazy. Yeah. But yeah, so then we set up, and then we had to hurry out to Whiskey Ranch. But like I said, I had registration set up, and I 2 good friends that I knew would be there sober because it was early, and that they would be there, and that, you know, I could count on. And I already had given them everything they needed, and that I had people, or Stacy would handle 50/50s and all that. But when we came over the hill, yeah, we just burst. I like, oh my God, I'm crying, and my husband's like, so am I.
So, tell me about like some of the things you did before the first bike start. Tell me, did you guys? I don't know if did you guys do the national anthem, or did you
Yes.
guys? What? Talk to me about that. What feelings after that national anthem was going on? Because I know when I was doing like my Never Forget the Fallen ride, like I was crying. I was, oh gosh.
Well, we just did the because they could, you know, they were kind of scared of the music that year, the first year. So, but the second year, we had a friend sing it. She did a beautiful job. Last year, we did not, but I wanted some friends of mine. Their son is amazing. He's a UW Milwaukee student, and he plays every instrument he has played.
Wow.
I know he can play. So, but he couldn't make it.
I've been thinking about playing the bagpipes lately.
I mean, he can.
have you ever
I don't know if he played those, but if this kid, okay, if he did not play an instrument, he would go and rent that instrument and learn
it?
teach himself to play it. And he's playing in the orchestra and I mean, he is amazing. And I followed him, since I've known these guys. And I want to make it to one of his concerts, but I haven't yet. But I mean, I wanted Devin to play with the lady we had sing. It just didn't work out.
That happens.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you gotta always follow up with them, and it's like,
I know.
so okay, all right. You're like 1 minute before starting up the bikes.
Well, we also had some surprise donations.
Okay.
And these other group of people, they call themselves Iron 7, and they're an association like ours. And they came up and presented us with like a big donation.
Wow.
And we had just met them, but I was telling my story to one of them. And, about we're going to do this for our granddaughter, on a ride that we had about 3 weeks before Gabi's weeks. And they gave us a big donation.
Wow.
That was awesome. And then we had some other donations. And then, we talked with the group, and my gosh, they were all over. All these people. And
they're just around you. Like, it's crazy how much the support is. It's like...
I know. I still have pictures. I think I made a thing of all, And then our kids had drove their cars out, to see us off. And we had a photographer. She's donated her time every year. And she's really young, starting out. She's in Janesville, I believe. And she's really good. And she's taking classes up in Madison, UW-Madison.
Wow. I feel like I'm going to need like probably like 4 or 5 photographers for this event in 2026.
That was what, she steps it up every year. So that year she wanted to do a photo booth. Mm-hmm. And she always brings
I remember that.
Yes.
I remember that.
And we had a lot of fun with that. And she still brings that. Well, then the next year she followed us along, or just a little bit. She followed us along. Well, last year she followed us on the whole ride.
Wow.
So she really did good. We could have used 2 or 3. Yeah.
There's so many pictures to be taken. It's crazy.
I know.
And you always seen like my rides. I always have a video afterwards. My guy, he's really good at that type of stuff. Like he has a drone. And you've seen.
And we usually have a drone. We did this year, but I haven't gotten those yet.
Yeah.
I probably should. And then I put them together usually. I had asked your guy.
Yes,
drone. And he was so because after I told him my story,
yeah,
he was gonna try to come.
He does as much as he can. I know, like awesome. I do pay him for it. So
yes.
Like I always,
I
think. So the Your Story Matters ride, like originally, like if it was gonna be like crazy, because like you remember the Your Story Matters ride last year. Tell me about that. Well, how'd you like that? Like, I felt like it was such the most easiest ride I've ever done. And it was just so like...
our bike was broke because it was broke half the summer last year. And we had our Jeep, yeah. And... yeah, we did registration for you, I think.
Yeah,
that was easy.
Oh, I think you did. You did. Yeah.
Yeah,
and then you came back to the end of the ride and did the raffles too.
50-50, yeah. But we had another couple with us. And see, that's what we do. We're so used to doing it because we have been doing that for years. We help other people and we don't care.
Yeah, we had like... because like it was the rain factor.
Yeah.
And we were out in Broadhead, so it was like six or seven bikes, and like I think like what we had like 30 cars or something, or
Yeah.
it got pretty big with the
I
cars.
thought it was a good ride.
It was amazing. I liked it. I think one of the most memorable things was from there was when we didn't have any music, and Chantel did the national anthem just right there with us. That was so amazing. I was like, that was so like downer. You want to talk about getting ready for a ride? There you go.
We were on your ride the year before too.
The Keep Strong and Moving On ride that went down to Nico's in I forgot the town, but it's I can't remember the town. I wish I always no, not Darien. No, that's Wisconsin. But no, I got to look back at that. But like, yeah, that ride. Oh my gosh, the Keep Strong and Moving On ride. I think we had like 80, 90 motorcycles and like
because we did have the bike.
You guys did have the bike on that one.
That's when I met the yellow truck.
Yeah, the yellow truck. That yellow truck is so freaking amazing.
We had them last year.
How did they do? Did they get a lot of signatures?
I believe so, yes. And because I told them, I said, I want to use you guys. I want, if it's okay for advertising, I want to.
They're so cool.
I want to, get the combat vets to come. I want, and we had another amazing turnout, I didn't know because we were going on the third year. And no, it was just as amazing. We had almost 200 sign up for the ride. Wow. And we always include cars and, bikes because our kids want to go, So we had teachers going.
Yeah, it's
everything. Everybody.
I've done cars for the past 5 years. Sadly, next year I'm not gonna be able to.
Yeah.
Because
we better get our bike fixed.
Because of how big the ride
is,
and we'll
I understand.
A little later in this podcast, we'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
But I wanna just circle back to now. Okay, 1 minute before the ride, you're getting on the bike. Do you start the first motorcycle, or does someone else start the first motorcycle?
No, we always.
You guys always did. Tell me about that feeling.
The first year, we had the ones that had COVID, but they were over. So we both,
Yeah. Talk to me about that. Tell me the feeling behind starting that bike.
Yeah,
so much emotion starting it. It is.
Yeah, because we pull out,
Do you have butterflies going through your mind?
No, I'm probably concentrating. See, we do where the police can't block, it's up to us.
Yeah.
To direct. We keep our 72s behind us. And my husband's driving, he'll tell me, okay, we're gonna need 2. And I put my hands up to 2. And I go like
so you
this.
gotta actually focus. Oof.
Only at the
intersections
where
of
the
course.
police aren't able to.
Yeah.
And usually we've done the route with our 72.
Yeah, you do it so many times. It's just like I think usually it's probably at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
maybe more.
But now this last year. He's had a heart attack.
Your husband?
5 years ago. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And
is he doing all right?
Said, what was it? It was 2 weeks before, or a week. He said, something's not right. He said, and he ended up in the ER.
Ooh.
So I called our 72 friends, and we were in the process of talking with all the policemen and giving them our route. And the one in Rock County was amazing. And
David Killer in there, I think his name is. or David
Ross
something. David Ross.
Meyer
Something like that.
or Miller.
Yeah, Miller. Something like that. I think he has 2 last names.
Because at first he wasn't available, and then he said, "Oh, we are." So he organized most, and Turtle, the one man.
Oh, the one man in Turtle.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember seeing that
He
one.
is so yeah. But he but then our friends, the 72s, they went out once he was released from the ER, and they said they'll schedule a test for him. But it turned out he's fine. They went out and rode it. So it was like clockwork, and where Turtle, because he's only one guy, could not,
Keep up.
block. Yeah, because
he had to escort it, if I'm not mistaken.
I knew he's back there. So, he was back there. I knew he couldn't block up here, so I'd put my thing, but I didn't even have to because they were already, they're up there, and it was just perfect, spot on. I didn't even have to guide them there. They knew right where to go.
Managing like 140, 150 bikes is...
Yeah, it was...
hell on earth.
And then the police, we adjusted the route. And we went out with Gabi's dad and stepmom, and that weekend before, and he had some good ideas to adjust the route to make it easier. Mm-hmm. And we did those. We got with the police, and that made it a lot easier because, we hadn't lived around here, like getting on 11, and so it really worked good.
When did you feel like the accomplishment come in? Like you were just like, wow, this is just so amazing. Like you besides that stress that like before, when you're in the ride, was there any point in the ride where you're like, wow, we did this, holy shit?
I think, like this last year, we came down, I'm gonna say Reed Road. Mm-hmm. Do you know it? That goes under 11.
I think so.
And we swooped around, okay, and the police were there, we were getting on 11, and all I could see was bikes down Reed Road.
Yeah, you're just like, whoa.
As long as, and swooping around and up 11, and policemen blocking every stoplight. And I'm like, oh my God, look at this, But I'm always crying through the whole ride.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, oh my God, Gabi, this.
You don't, in those rides, you only can think about like what's happened, and even though you're trying to manage everything, you're just like, you're taking it out,
I'm thinking,
you're getting,
Gabi, just.
She would have loved it.
You're so loved. You were so loved if you only knew, and or realized.
You're doing such an amazing job. Like what you're doing is inspirational, and the amount of impact you've already made, Kris, like you have made so much impact in this world that she would be so happy.
That's what I just, we just want her as proud of us as we were of her, because she was amazing. I put up this little tree at the cemetery.
Yeah.
And we put a few ornaments. Well, her cousin visits the cemetery, and she said, I was wondering if I could have the boys make some ornaments. And I said, well, sure. And then I got that idea, so I posted last year, and I said, anyone that wants to. And that tree was so full of ornaments. Her friend that's in the Air Force even put one on.
Oh, she was in the military? Oh, wait. Okay, yeah.
Haley came back, and, they signed the back, and I mean, there was so many on there.
I will believe it.
My daughter picked it up for me, and she had to take some off, put them in a box that was full. So this year we put it back out, but I had to put some on the reef. You know, I mean, it's just...
It's overwhelming.
I have heard from so many people how Gabi encouraged people when they wanted to quit going. She would encourage them to keep going, but she couldn't encourage herself. I
don't
understand. Well. That's just it.
Just hide it so well.
And she
it's
did.
like,
because we had spent an amazing night. That night that she decided to leave us.
You can be so happy in life, and
depression.
The next thing you know, it kills you.
Is a horrible thing, and all I can do is pray that everybody just, they could get some help and good help.
They will. You have already created a help in this world that is unlimited, and the meaning behind Gabi's Wings and what you have created is I look up to. I look up to, and I will always look up to you.
Well, I look up to you because now I understand you.
I don't think you have fully I mean. I'll after this, if you would be interested in reading my book, you would find out.
I definitely would, and I did not know until I started watching your podcast that you had a book.
So what happened was, it was my way of releasing all my trauma. Mm-hmm. I talked pretty much about every traumatic event I went through around the time leading up to my attempt. And then I released the book by the last word in that book being her name. And that was my way of closing the book and being done with the book. And what I did was in 2022, and I'm okay talking about this because I don't really care anymore about what people think about me. I got someone read it. I had someone read it, and they were like, their immediate reaction was like, oh yeah, you should go into a mental hospital. You are messed up and need a lot, very bad. It got me to a point where I just left it there when I graduated from college, and I just didn't touch it again. This year, 2022, that was May 2022, I stopped writing, I stopped doing everything, and I just forgot about it. This year, because of the people I met up at Lakeshore Harley Davidson, the lady that works there in the clothes department, she read my book and she was like, let me help you to work to get, because she's a major in English. Oh. And she's like, let me help you to redefine this story and get you to publish this book. And I'm like, I caught on to that. But then again, because it was going to bring up a lot of trauma. It's going to bring up a lot of things that I didn't feel like I should bring up. But then again, I'm like, moving forward this year, and you already know this is No Filter podcast, but I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start this podcast. I'm gonna start focusing on myself and doing what I love. Mm-hmm. I need to do what I love, because that's the way I'm happier about my life. So the more I bring into my life, the more it's gonna adjust me to get out of these depressional states. Because I started taking medication. I think I told you about this. Yeah. I started taking medication. I told you. I think I told you back in 2021 after the riot came out, and I think you heard that they falsely diagnosed me with bipolar disorder.
Yes.
2 weeks later, out of the hospital, I found out with my therapist that they diagnosed me with bipolar, which pushed me out of the military. But going on from that, I decided, 8 months later, I finally got that off, and they prescribed me lithium carbonate for attention deficit disorder. Not correct. It's so bullshit. But the psychiatrist the following year in 2023 told me, yeah, you have this. We're going to put you on a low-grade mood stabilizer. And, I mean, I was really good. I was really good. Life was going well. At 2023, you know, I did get a hit. And I got out of a relationship. And then come to December 2023, I was like, you know what? I'm going to face my demons on my own. I am this self right now. I have all this trauma, but I think I can do this on my own. I don't think I need a prescription drug to help me out to keep my mood stable. I'm gonna face this shit on my own. I'm gonna get through this because I've healed from 2021 all the way up to 2023, and I was in a real healing process. And December 2023, I was like, okay, all right, I'm pushing that away. And I pushed the lamotrigine, which I was on. I pushed that away. Went plain as day. My natural self. I'm gonna stay with my natural self, and that's what I did. Up to this point, that's what I've been doing. I've been facing these ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs, and that's what I talked about earlier: is going through your pain, engulfing in that pain, and understanding that life is life. You know. And one of the biggest things is, well, sorry, I lost a little bit there. Right now I'm at that point where I'm now following my passion because I've been in a healing process and healing from a relationship, healing from the other things in life, and now listening to her tell me like, okay, let's do this. Let's focus on this. And that's why I reread my book the last week, and I was like, I can do this.
Right.
I when I was reading, I was like, my gosh, I said so many positive things because I was talking conscious. I was talking about me putting myself back in that time. I was talking conscience. So I was talking what I was feeling in that time of my past. So like I jumped from the time in the relationship to a time where like I was doing positive things. Like I was getting back into college, getting back into writing the book and stuff like that. So rereading it, I found like there's like a real positive message that comes out of this, that you can face your healing the way you need to, and you don't need anybody to define that because of the certain situations you've been through your life. It's about how you move forward and how you understand the fact of getting to the place in life where you find a happiness, where you find that structure that you can understand to be a somewhat normal, you know, because we're never normal, fully normal.
Yeah, never normal.
So it's, I always go on these little rants and stuff like that.
No, you're.
So it's about facing.
But was it safe to just stop medicine though?
I did it the right way.
Oh,
like I leaned off of it. I didn't just stop.
Yeah.
No, I leaned off
question.
of it. Like I went down from 150 milligrams to 100
Right.
to 50 to 25 and then 0. That's what I did with my doctor. So.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So I did it the right way, and I'm gonna say like
that is the right way, because I know there's so many psychiatric drugs that.
Oh yeah, you get off.
If you
them.
just stop, you know, they can be so.
And don't worry, I've done that. I did that once as well, like because like the bipolar thing, with being diagnosed with that and then being on lithium carbonate. Like I found like 4 months later, I was like, I don't want to be on this shit. It's just like it makes me feel so bad. Like I did go cold turkey. It was probably pretty bad, but because like during that 1 month afterwards, oh my gosh, it was terrible. But then again, I did get off of it, and I did get into psychiatry or go to Rosecrans and stuff like that. Yeah. And I mean, it might have been a mistake, and that's probably one of my mistakes in my life. Maybe I would say is like I should have probably leaned off of it and got with, you know, did the proper thing with that back in 2021. But I don't know. I was so ashamed, you know, like I got diagnosed with this and just threw under the bush, you know.
I mean, I've never had a problem with, psychiatric drugs because a lot of people need them.
Yeah.
I do have a problem with psychiatrists that over medicate.
Yeah, or don't start you out the way when I said start me, because I told my psychiatrist, start me on the lowest grades mood stabilizer and then up my dosage until I get to a point where it's really good, and then we'll keep there. That's what I did with the lamotrigine.
Yeah.
So, and I know your feelings about it. And I heard that was brutal.
I just feel that Gabi was over medicated. When I hacked into, I had her.
Talk about it.
I had her laptop. She left everything at the house, anything valuable, and I had bought it. But, so I could log into her CVS, and I looked at them. It wasn't right. When they started the antidepressants, she was clearly depressed.
Yeah.
I agreed. But they would up it, and then they'd triple it, the dosage, and then they'd add another one and another one. And she was on 4.
The fact of throwing medications out there to try to solve a problem. I mean, I get it. I get it to try to figure out the problem, but topping those on top of each other is not good. I think the best way to go about it is, leaning off the drug and then getting on another drug. And then leaning off the drug and getting on another drug.
Yeah, if they weren't working.
I mean, but my perception
I just
is
don't see,
My perception is yeah, you want to put a definition to it because you want to get on medication to help you out. Yes, I understand that. There is good things in medication.
Yeah, I mean, she should have been on.
Yeah.
If she was clearly depressed, she should have been on some, but 4.
Yeah, no.
And then I didn't know what her diagnosis was. So her mom and I put in for her medical records after she passed. And they gave us some bogus statue that didn't even make sense. I can't even remember because we were in Florida at my cousin's funeral when the paperwork came back. But on the autopsy it said only depression. So
yeah, and my perception is like, if we can develop a way to not do drugs and go through it in a positive healing method, like finding natural coping mechanisms for these certain circumstances, because like I told you earlier, our depression is connected to our past. It always is. It always has been. How do you go through that past endeavor, which I kind of talk about in my book, is how do you go through that past endeavor and then make a positive out of it? How do you find a diamond out of that rust? And I think better understanding that, and it goes into the things that you have accomplished in your life, the things that you have positively done to impact yourself, and it takes going back to your childhood, the fun things you used to do as a child, those things are the things that actually help you out. We forget about them when we start going through this journey of life. We forget about it. And it's so hard to remember those things. It's like, what do I do? I remember when with my mom, I would always do puzzles and stuff like that. Part of my coping mechanism in my healing process was doing puzzles. I was doing puzzles. I did a 3,000 piece puzzle before. And so I tried to challenge myself with a 15. That did not work out too well.
Oh, that would be hard.
It was a deep sea one, so it was just so hard.
That would be
imaging is
Oh, that would be.
But it's these little things in life that actually have a positive impact to understand our depression better, understand our anxiety better, understand these different types of circumstances better. And I feel like if there was a natural way to go about these different circumstances, I feel like people would have a better reaction towards those, because we lose perception of ourselves when we start growing in life, because we're so focused on making money. We're so focused on paying the bills. We're so focused on trying to get through life and understand life. But we lose perception of our old self, and where do we gain that back? But we're going through life, and it's kind of just like, I did that when I was younger. You know? And here's a little funny story. Like, I played Yu-Gi-Oh! If you ever heard of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or like Pokemon.
Yes, yeah.
I mean,
remember that.
I was playing last year. I'm going to get back with my nephew back into it this year again. And we go to tournaments, we travel, we do a lot of fun stuff. And like, I want to get back into it for sure. I love that type of stuff. And it brings so much, like, if I could tell you, Pokemon community, Yu-Gi-Oh! Community, any of those communities are just so amazing. Like, you have an absolute love for it, and it's very fun. So
That's good.
yeah. So, but let's circle back. So tell me a little bit about once the ride finished, and just all the positivity, everybody coming up to you saying congratulations, and it, like, I think I was there the first year, the very first year, 2021, if I'm not mistaken, or was it 2022?
Yes. No, well, it
The
was
one with the
22.
picture booth.
22.
The one with the picture booth.
Well, we've had that. every
That was
year.
2020. Okay.
But at Hog
yeah.
Cabin, yes. That was when you guys stopped in, which it's in the picture video, actually.
It is.
Yeah. A picture of you with your bike. Yeah, it was exhausting.
Exhausting, but it helped out a lot.
I was, last to leave, as usual.
We always are. We're always one cleaning up.
Cleaning up, taking the raffle baskets, who hasn't picked them up yet, or wasn't there yet. And everything home. It used to be me and my son-in-law every year. We were the last to leave. He would stick around and help me fill my car. And that would be Gabi's stepdad. And unfortunately, he died of cancer this year, the end of April. It was a fast-moving, rare liver cancer.
Ooh.
And I drove him to chemo every 2 weeks, which I wouldn't change anything. We had long talks, and he went fast, though.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I had that feeling this week, and Tuesday I actually lost my dog to cancer.
Yeah,
He passed away, I think about 6:15 on Tuesday, or 6, somewhere around there. And I was just getting off work too, and that's like, I was getting off work and I was an hour and 20 minutes away from work.
Oh my gosh.
If it wasn't for the girl that I was talking to right now, and her calling me and talking to me for that hour, oh my gosh, I would be driving in that mindset of like emotion. You don't want to drive in emotion. Like, oh, I remember that, and that takes me back to a point when I found out my friend passed away. I was coming back from Chicago on 90. I was literally, because I was talking to someone, and it was crazy, and you'll read about this in the book. But like, I was driving like 80 to 100 miles per hour in emotion. I wasn't wanting to do it, but I didn't have control, because it's crazy, because that, all that stuff, I look back at that, I'm like, all that stuff from that point to the point of the first ride, and then everything afterwards to the second ride, was me finally coming out about what happened in 2019. And like, it's crazy that it triggered me, and but it was a positive trigger,
Yeah.
It's a positive trigger. And that's what I want to do, is like turn suicide into a positive trigger, a positive trigger to think like, okay, I'm thinking suicidal thoughts. Okay, there's a whole community. There's a whole community of people that will talk to you and help you out, and individuals that will understand you, and that's what creating the ride, the relationships that you make at these rides, and just the feeling of going on the ride, just gets you to an overall acceptance. You're never going to come to full acceptance, but an overall acceptance.
Yeah, there is. I mean, even when you're out, going places for raffles, donations,
You're talking to so many people.
they are like, oh, put down my number, or sitting anywhere, sitting at a benefit or a bar, and we put on this benefit, they'll see your patch, or, we have a Gabi's Wings patch, or our shirts, or whatever, and, get my number and call, because I want to make sure I support you guys.
Yeah.
I believe in what you do.
Yeah. Yeah, and...
we've got, we have an amazing, last year I had to kind of laugh. We had one lady, a friend of Gabby's other grandma, Dawn, Lynn Capel. Her daughter was going to sell raffle tickets, and she's a teacher in Janesville. And then we had, it's Gabby's kindergarten teacher. I mean, and she is just, she comes to my grandkids. She had my grandson, and she had Gabby's little sister. She's all in. She volunteers for everything. So we had teachers there last year. They come to support. And they volunteer. And, it's just...
So many people.
So many people
in the fight. They just want to...
Yeah.
They will... And, it's always someone knows someone.
Yes.
Someone knows someone of this.
Fortunately, they do.
Yeah. So, I want to know which ride out of all four, or three.
Three, yeah.
Out of all three, which one was your favorite?
My favorite. Ooh.
Asking the difficult questions over here.
Yeah. I don't even know. No, because yeah. Now the ride part, possibly, for the ride part, probably the first ride.
Probably the first ride.
Yeah.
Because you didn't know what you were doing. So it's just like, it's all over the place.
Because we planned that well. Because I had a big part in that. I switched the whole ride up the way that they were going to go. I said, no, we're going to Illinois. We needed to get around Beloit or around Janesville, And I switched it all up. I don't know if my husband will tell you that, but I did. Driving the roads from Clinton to get over to,
So tell me, so being a part of those rides and stuff, there's just the pre-planning and stuff like that with all the officers and stuff like that. That very first time you see a squad car come up the side or something like that, tell me the feeling behind that.
I don't know. I get goosebumps.
You get goosebumps. I get goosebumps too. Because you remember the last year's ride, we had three officers, one in the back, one in the front, and one that's farther up pushing everybody out. And with my ride, I always try to lock down everything. I really try to, and having a full perception of what the ride is and just overall keeping it safe, because it's the biggest thing.
That's the biggest thing.
Exactly. And it gets crazy. It gets honestly crazy. But when you see it in motion, you're like, I did this.
I know.
It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work, a lot of talking, a lot of things
Yeah, there's people that just don't, they want to lead the ride, and they do not understand how much work and time it takes.
It's crazy.
And
you don't imagine how I feel for over the next year and a half.
Oh, I know. And I've been on rides, and there's stuff that happens that is beyond your control.
Oh, yeah.
We had a guy, we had to park down below and he got mud, went to turn the corner, he smacked, and this wasn't our ride. Well, it was a ride I started, but not, that year.
You get to know some of the rides, like
Scary.
Lake County. This is one of the complications I'm going to have with next year's ride. They don't do any police escorts or police blockage.
Yeah.
So, and that's Chicago. And
Oh.
and it is difficult. Well, I have a plan already. So here's a big curveball I took with that. So Illinois State Police are like, we want to start from one location, not 3. So what I'm going to do is Lakeshore and Kegel Harley Davidson. Kegel's going to get a full working on a police escort, and especially working with Illinois State Police over to Woodstock. And then Lakeshore is going to be coming over in waves. That's how I'm going to work that, is waves. And the route's going to be, there's going to be, if someone loses the route, if someone, like you got the lone biker, they literally can ride the route and see where to go to get to Woodstock.
Oh, that would be.
So that's one of the plans I have with that. And then so we'll get into it. Well, before I go into that, tell me some of the future plans with Gabi Swings. What's going on here in the future?
Okay. This year, I decided.
You decided.
I did. I was driving to Broadhead to buy a humidifier, and my mind is always going. And I thought, you know what? The ride, to me, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Because I don't have time to get all these raffles, and I don't have time to plan all this stuff. I'm sorry.
You're all good.
But
it's a lot of work. It's not easy.
And to help on the ride, I just don't have time because, it's so stressful. And so I wanted to try something. And the liability is just, and we are getting too big. So
that's when the police get more involved.
Yeah. But we've had the police involved, the first and the third ride. Second ride, it was our own fault. We waited too long, and we were more in Walworth County, and they will not.
You got to pay for Walworth.
No, they just wouldn't help us because they had a big ride, they said, coming in Lake Geneva. Yeah. So we waited too long also. So we didn't have them. But it worked out okay. But we've had at least 177 sign up. And that's not even...
For this year already?
No, I mean...
Oh, second ride?
Yeah, basically, there's 180 and it's just gotten so big. So we cut down where we only had a couple stops, and then we'll stop for a group picture. But it just is too much. So I thought, how about if we support all the businesses? We really love all the businesses. And have it as an all-day fundraiser.
Yep.
So let's make it a stamp book.
Yep. I did that. I tried to do that for one of my rides, or something like that.
And we ride all summer. Mm-hmm. So right now we're putting it together. That's what my phone call was, because my friends are helping me, and they have been enormous help. And we have different stops all over. And we're planning on, hopefully we'll have 50 stops. I think we might have more. And it'll be a booklet that you carry, and it's for cars, take your moped, take motorcycles, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm hoping April 1st until September 6th. You ride. And then we'll give away cash prizes. If you have the book totally stamped for first, second, third.
Yeah.
You know, and then we'll have that all day. I mean, we have different options this way. My kids are saying, Mom, have it more kid friendly.
You're going to get so many different people
You know,
like
they want
wanting
a
to
bounce house.
play.
They want face painting. We do Gabby's Rocks, which we were doing hashtags, and we might do ducks. We're not sure
The
yet.
Jeep Squad.
Yeah, and put attachments on them to a page. You know, we've got different ideas. But we were at Bootleggers, and they are doing more improvements for us. It will be at Bootleggers. I mean, they have bent over backwards to have us there. They built that stage for us.
Wow.
You know, I mean, they are amazing. And right now they're building something else out there for us. You know, I mean,
Surprise you.
yeah, I mean, it's not just for us, but it'll benefit us.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, they let us do what we want.
That's awesome.
They don't hold any, you know, and we can do we'll still do our pig roast, you know, and we have our pig roast cooker. He's always there, and does an amazing job. We could have 2 bands, you know. I mean, we've got options. We'll get together and plan it, but we are going to do the stamp book.
Okay.
And if it doesn't work out, we'll go back to the ride.
You just keep
But
adjusting.
then we might have 300, you know.
You never know.
I mean, people, they just
But I gotta say,
keep coming every year, and I love that. But we're going to have to incorporate more people.
don't give up.
I'm not.
No, I'm not. Don't give
Yeah.
up on the ride.
No.
If like next year, like if you want to bring it back, bring it back. Don't.
Well, that's what I said. We're going to try it this year, you know, and yeah.
Yeah.
But and then in May, we're going to present. We're doing 5 scholarships again.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, we did 5 or 7, 5 last year. I mean, it is. And the kids, I mean, the applications, I don't know how they do them. They get the applications in. I could never. And we actually have one of Gabby's teachers. She wants to join her old teacher wants to join the committee. And
Yeah. So, all right, let's transition a little bit. So, going on for what I'm doing, I'm not having a ride this year. I'm not having.
Oh,
a ride.
you're not going to have your other one.
I can't, because of the certain circumstances of course, my podcast coming out. And I think what I'm actually going to do is just the I'm a Survivor, a Suicide Awareness and Prevention Ride, the 6th annual for this year. It's just going to be my path with everybody coming out to the rides that I support. And that's how I'm going to have that structured. That's going to be the highlight and what I'm going to make it a highlight of. It's going to be me compiling a bunch of videos of everybody else's rides that I would go to and supporting everybody else this year. Next year, August 22nd, 2026, 5 different rides, 5 different Harley Davidsons, Madison, Milwaukee, Lakeshore, Chicago Harley, Woodstock, and Kegel Harley Davidson. 5 different rides in one day, working with Illinois and as well as Wisconsin State Police, working with them. And then as well as with all the counties and stuff like that. Tell me what you think.
I think so you're going to meet at one place, all different rides?
Yeah, so Kegel's and Lakeshore are going to be meeting at Woodstock, and Woodstock will be escorted to the border of Wisconsin and handed off to Wisconsin, which will be in Walworth County. And then then we'll be moving up, working with Wisconsin State Police, and as well as working with all the counties and stuff like that through Rock County, Dane County, or And that's where, so one of the things is what I'm working on is we're going to do a wave style for all the rides. So through Walworth and Lake County, or no, Walworth and Rock County, we're going to be spurting out bikes of like 50 to 100 every like 30 minutes to a minute at one location. And so how that's going to work is, and then once it gets through Rock County, so we go up around Janesville and come around to 59 to 51 out to Edgerton to Evansville. There is going to be a point, I still got to figure it out, but that one point in around Evansville and Edgerton is all the bikes, all those waves are going to meet there at that one point. And then we're going to come through, and then we're going to go through Evansville down to Albany, Broadhead to Sweet Minnehaha for Rock to Stop 22's 10th annual musical festival. Yeah. They came to me and were like, you want to put on a ride? Or I think I came to them, I was like, you want to put on a ride? Okay, let's make this epic. Yeah, I'm a little crazy, but with the amount of motivation and just the amount of like energy I have going into these types of things and the amount of working with the way, I know it's accomplishable.
Yes.
You just got to put your mind to it. And that's what I got to do that's why I'm not having a ride this year.
Yeah,
because
true. That will take a lot.
Yeah. And there's going to be so many adjustment periods, and I got to create teams for Madison. I'm leading the Milwaukee ride, Lakeshore, Woodstock. I already got Woodstock's teams evaluated already. I got Kegel's already good to go. There's a few groups that I have to still plug in. Madison, I should be. I was talking to you. I was asking if maybe you could help out. It's up to you. You don't have to.
Otherwise,
or the 72 shifters, or maybe I could talk to them possibly, and especially I sit down with the combat vets this next weekend too. So
otherwise, the one guy you had asked me, he's on the blue line.
Yeah, blue line. Yep. So he could probably support the Madison or the Kegels, whichever one. So and I can adjust and however I need to adjust, and I'm just going to make a list for each team for each Harley Davidson. Mm-hmm. So
or combined.
There's a lot of work that's going to go into it. A lot.
Oh, yeah.
I can already feel some of the temptation of this ride already coming up, and it's only ever a year and like a half out. It feels crazy and
it will come
amazing.
Past.
It will, but these podcasts and stuff like that's another reason because the ride's not going to happen this year is because I am booked out till almost end of March now.
Oh, good.
And then I got more to book for April. I have some in April already. I'm going to be meeting so many people. And I got four podcasts out first month.
Yeah, you did good. I was listening to it.
How'd you like them? What was your favorite one?
They were good. I think my favorite one was, well, you couldn't see it. You were having audio trouble.
Josh Harmon, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so we did a TikTok live. Mm-hmm. So the frame rates do not agree with any or like the services and stuff like that, like CapCut or Photoshop. So I had, or not Photoshop, but Adobe Premiere. Mm-hmm. So I extracted all the audio from that, and you heard me say that. So
yes. Yeah.
Josh Harmon's an amazing guy. Josh Harmon's the guy that's gonna work and gonna manage Kegel Harley Davidson.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he was a great guy. Like his story, oh my gosh, like I feel like anybody hears that's gonna help him out so much to come out and just like
I felt that too.
Yeah. And especially with what stuff he goes through, like him, I would just say, like, I was not myself that day. I literally was. I don't know if you could tell in my voice. I don't know if you could or not.
No,
you couldn't. I was really off.
A couple
I was
points,
really off.
But I kind of knew. I had talked with you the week before. I think.
Yeah, I was off. Like I was not in like my mind, and you could talk to Josh. Like he'll be like, yeah, that whole week he was like totally off. So, but like yeah, and it's just amazing what he does, and especially Miles to Zero or something like that. What he's creating behind what he does. He travels the country. He does a lot of stuff. He's 24 years in the military, and he's an impact in himself. Like he's gonna do so many great things, and we're working together actually on podcasts and stuff like that, and we're gonna be pushing this out, and we're we're kind of at the place where we're challenging each other. So
yeah, I got a lot of respect for him. He's
major. I was in awe when I was listening to his story. I was like, I re-listened to it. I was like, oh my gosh, like it's so crazy. So, such an amazing story, and especially your story as well. Like your story, everybody's stories matters, and that's why Your Story Matters podcast does what it does. Is it creates impact, and that's what I want to do with it, and that's specifically what I want to do with it, and it's just my passion. I'm following my passion this year. Is that fucking mentality?
Everybody's story does matter.
You gotta have some type of mentality, and you know, like. I can't wait to see what comes out of this, and I'm wanting to work with you, and if you want to work with me and help me out with this ride, I would love for you to. And you do such amazing things, Kris, and for this community. You really do, and don't take that lightly. Do not take that lightly. You have changed a lot of people's views and a lot of people's impression of life. You gotta understand that. That's your passion. Own that shit.
It is.
Own it.
It is.
You gotta own it, and once you start owning it, and I feel like that's the biggest part where you start becoming happier, you know. And you could see. You start smiling over it because it's like you love what you do. You do what you love, and it has an adverse reaction on yourself. But first off, I just want to say thank you very much for coming on today, and this was an amazing podcast, and like I said, I'm excited to see where it goes, and this is going to be impactful. It's going to take a lot of people, a lot of things, our mission is constant. It's not a borderline, okay, we're going to put a wall in front of it. No, we got to keep at it every single day. And I always end these podcasts with this. Tell me one of the most impactful quote or saying or something in your life that is motivational to you that would impact others in life.
Now, I don't have one. Wait, I have something, baby. I wrote it down.
You did? Oh, you came prepared. Oh my gosh.
Before I was going to the benefit, maybe. I have these sticky notes all over my house. Let me tell you. Maybe. Oh, yeah. And this was late.
I can tell you've been listening to my podcast.
This was late last night, too. When you come to the end of your rope, tie a knot and hold on.
Don't let the story end.
Yeah.
Keep that semicolon in motion.
Oh, yes. I've heard that.
Yes.
The world needs you.
I have to say, and some stories end, but it's sometimes the impact after that counts.
Yeah.
That's what keeps it radiating through the future. And we only can keep going and not stop. So, and one other thing I gotta say is, you remember seeing the usual logo I have for all the suicide awareness prevention rides? Mm-hmm. We're actually working on opening those wings up for this next ride.
Oh, good.
And what we're going to do is there's going to be a military side to it, and then as well as the teal and purple side, and it's going to converge into color. And this one is for our vets.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, and.
Well, we have two actually.
You guys are amazing. I had to say that.
We have this one. We have the tennis shoe because she ran across.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Never walk alone. That's another good saying.
So we have two.
Yeah. And,
logos.
well, I always end
That is amazing.
I'm excited to see. I haven't seen it yet. I have my artist working on it right now.
That is good.
One of the things I got to say is this is episode 5. And Kris Cullen, thank you very much for coming on today. And this podcast, Your Story Matters, is where you could leave the bullshit at the door and be you. Thank you.
Thank you.